My pineapple pie recipe with fresh pineapple is going to be amazing. Honestly, I've never seen a pineapple pie with a double crust that looked like an old fashioned apple pie or peach pie, so I said to myself, why not make one? Since I'm making the filling from scratch with fresh pineapple, it's going to be absolutely full of flavor. Although I think this pie will be great at any time of the year, I think it's the perfect pie for Easter or Mother's Day.
Of course, the most important ingredient in pineapple pie is pineapple. Here I have 3 cups or 24 ounces or 680 grams of fresh pineapple. What I did is yesterday I bought the pineapple, I cut it up, and then I froze it, and then I thawed it. You could use canned pineapple, but I highly suggest that you use fresh because fresh pineapple has a lot more flavor. There's really no comparison. You could use frozen,
If you buy frozen pineapple, just make sure that you're using a total of 24 ounces.
but if you buy fresh pineapple like I did, I wanted to go over how to choose a good pineapple. Just like with bananas, if a banana is green, it's not ripe. If it's yellow, it's ripe. The same holds true for pineapples. If a pineapple is totally green, it's not ripe. A ripe pineapple should have a lot of yellow and golden orange on the outside. And when you hold it up to your nose and smell it, you should pick up a very fruity pineapple scent. I'm also going to need sugar. I have 1 cup or 210 grams of plain white sugar. You could use brown. A lot of people like to use brown sugar with pineapple, but I'm using white because I think it's going to help preserve the yellow color of the pie. I'm also going to add some lemon. So I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of freshly squeezed lemon juice and 1 teaspoon of lemon zest. If you don't have zest, substitute half a teaspoon of lemon extract. I'm going to add some cornstarch, 3 tablespoons or 30 grams to thicken the juice. And I'm also going to add some water. I'm going to add half a cup or 120 grams of water. This pineapple pie recipe with fresh pineapple is super easy because all I have to do is mix together the ingredients for the filling. My 9-inch pie crust is par baked off to the side. I just poked some holes in it and baked it at 350 for 5 minutes. I have another pie crust in the refrigerator for the top. So all I literally have to do is mix together the ingredients for the filling. Here is the sugar, the lemon, the salt, 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt. I think I forgot to mention that. That's just to bring out the flavor. The lemon zest. If you want to use orange, I think you could use orange as well. That would be good. The cornstarch. I like pineapple and coconut. Some coconut extract might be good as well, or vanilla extract, but honestly I think this is going to be the best. My water. Now I'm just going to stir everything to combine. My filling is now combined, the fresh pineapple, sugar, etc. And now I'm just going to pour it into my par baked pie crust, 9 inches. Now, after I spread out the pineapple, get everything situated how I want it, I'm going to add on the top crust. Now that the pineapple filling is in the pie crust, it's time to put on the top. Here I have my second homemade 9-inch pie crust. Of course, you could use store-bought. I rolled it out between 2 pieces of wax paper, so I peeled off one. And if you've never put on a top crust, just hold it like this with it still attached to one of the pieces of plastic. Put it over the pie like that. Situate it as much over the center as you can. And then just peel it off. And then once your top crust is on the pie, just go around and cut off the excess crust. You want to leave a little bit of crust hanging over, so don't cut off too much. I would say leave maybe 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 of an inch hanging over. That's what you want, because then you're going to go back and crimp the edges. So see, I'm just very quickly cutting off the extra crust. If you cut off a little more here and there, or a little less here and there, that is totally fine. And then just go back and crimp the edges like this, because we have to create that seal between the bottom crust and the top crust. The top crust is now on the pie. I went around and crimped the edges, and there were some places where I didn't have quite enough crust, so I just used little pieces of crust off to the side to go back, and I just put it over where it needed some crust and just pinched it in with the top crust. Now to cut some air vents. This pie, just like an apple pie, needs some air vents, because if you don't cut some slits in the top crust, then as the fruit and the moisture cooks inside, it's going to create steam. It's going to lift the top crust and make it domed, and it's going to be kind of odd. So, like I said, we're going to cut some slits. I found a ruler to find the midpoint of the pie. Do not feel the need to get this picky, but I like to make things look nice, so I am using a ruler to help me cut some slits. And I use the slits to help cut the pie into equal pieces. But like I said, do not feel obligated to do this. I am going to cut slits to make it look like a star. There, that looks good. And now for one finishing touch. I am going to add 1 tablespoon of light brown sugar and 1 tablespoon of white sugar to the top of the pie. It's going to give more sweetness and a bit of extra crunch. I'm literally just going to sprinkle it on top. I do this with pretty much all of my fruit pies and cobblers. A little bit of extra sugar never hurt anyone. Now I'm going to bake this pie uncovered at 350. I'm not sure for how long, but I will let you know. I just pulled my pineapple pie out of the oven. It was in at 350 Fahrenheit for 1 hour, 60 minutes. It has a very nice pineapple aroma now that it did not have when it first went in. So I am excited.
Like I said at the beginning of the video, I had never heard of a pineapple pie with a double crust, so I was really excited to try this. And when I did, I fell in love with it immediately. My pineapple pie recipe with fresh pineapple was absolutely incredible. I knew that this pie was going to be good, but I didn't expect it to be quite as good as it was. Although I couldn't really smell anything when I cut the first slice, one thing that really stood out about this pie compared to the others that I've made is that it had a very strong aroma. This pie had an absolutely incredible pineapple aroma, so I knew it was going to be good. Not surprisingly, it definitely tasted like pineapple, but in all honesty, I was surprised by just how strong the pineapple flavor was. Using fresh or frozen pineapple is definitely the way to go in this recipe because, as I've said in other videos, there's a big difference in flavor between canned pineapple and fresh or frozen. It's almost like two different fruits. And just like with my other fruit pies, especially the strawberry and blueberry, I think that adding the lemon juice along with the lemon zest really brought out the fruit flavor. I'm going to be honest, I tasted the filling when I poured it into the pie crust, and the lemon was a bit strong, but just like in my other recipes, lemon as it cooks, it mellows out, and it was just perfect. I know it sounds weird, but I think that adding the lemon juice and lemon zest actually made this pineapple pie taste more like pineapple than normal pineapple. And now that you can see the slice up close, you can tell that it cut perfectly. If you follow me for a while, you know that I don't like runny fruit pies, and this pie definitely wasn't runny at all. It held its shape absolutely perfectly when it was cut. But I do have to admit, I was a bit concerned when I took the pie out of the oven and I could see that some of the juice from inside had bubbled up on top of the crust. I thought that maybe it would have too much juice, but it worked out perfectly. I also really liked the color of the filling. It was a really bright yellow. Although this old-fashioned double crust pineapple pie definitely tasted like pineapple, it reminded me of peach pie, both in texture and to an extent flavor, surprisingly. I'm still not sure why it reminded me of peach pie so much, but if you're like me and you really like peach pie but you're looking for something different, this would be a great option. Like I've already said, this pineapple pie was absolutely fantastic, even though it was my first time making it and I had to pretty much invent a recipe because I've never seen anything like this before. I think it turned out perfectly on the first try. However, I do want to say that some people might find this to be a bit sweet. I didn't mind it, but some people might want to go down to maybe 3/4 of a cup of sugar. As I always say, you know that I tell you the truth. Not everything is awesome. I will tell you if something is mediocre, but this was definitely awesome. I will be making this again, and I probably won't change a thing. Considering that pineapple is at its peak between March and July in the United States, and that this pie has a great old-fashioned look and a really bright yellow filling, it would be the perfect dessert for a spring holiday like Easter or Mother's Day. So if you're looking for a new pie recipe, definitely give this one a try. I know you'll love it. As always, thanks for watching.